Well, welcome back. This video is going to be day 8, 9, and 10 of the Declutter Challenge. And you know, I'm not on track with each day. I never get in a big hurry about anything, and you know, I mentioned early on when I started this declutter video series that, you know, if you don't feel like doing something someday, just don't, and do it the next day. And many of us have family and other things we have to get done in a day's time. And so this morning I have a bread rising, and we'll be putting that in the oven here after a while, and I got that all mixed up and ready. And I've got a tea towel in the machine. It's working its little self for me today. And I'm cutting out a jelly roll race quilt from some ombre fabric that was given to me. I wanted to use it, and I have a friend that's getting a new sofa that's brown, and I was thinking this might work for her. So I'm going to go ahead and make it, and I'm going to have a good look at it when I get it finished, and then see about giving it to her. But you know, the other day on one of the declutter videos, I moved my cutting mat over here by my machine, and I have to say I love it. I like it so much better, and I can switch threads really easy when it's time to do a thread change, and you know, everything is just right here. I really like it, and it seems to be much easier on my back. So I've been cutting these in 10 strip piles, and I'm going to cut this is 3 yards, and I'm going to cut this whole thing in 2.5-inch strips, and then make a jelly roll race quilt. So day 8 is about your cutting tools, like scissors and rotary cutters and all kinds of things. So I'm going to take you on a little tour. I'm not going to get all my stuff and put it in one place because I've put it all back. And so I'm just going to take you on a little tour and show you my cutting tools and how I organize and keep them. So my Husky tool boxes serve me so well and house almost everything. I am not the kind of sewer or quilter or crafter or maker who has one of the same thing at every station. Usually when I purchase something, a pair of scissors or a rotary cutter or something like that, I just buy one and I just put it in one place. And if I need it, they're mobile and you can take them with you. And so I keep most of my scissors and cutting stuff actually in this drawer. So I've got my rotary cutters, blades, and I have 2 rotary cutters that I keep over on my cutting mat, but they are the only ones I have of those sizes. And I've got my Karen K. Buckley scissors, my pinking shears. These are all very tiny, very sharp little embroidery shears that I use when I'm doing silk ribbon embroidery, and I've got my duck bills, and the blue rotary cutter is one that someone gave me, and I haven't tried it, but I might someday. And I do keep, like, it'll say old and dull I keep the blades until I get these little things. They come in full. This one says used. And when they're full, then I take them to my vet office, my local veterinary office, and I let them dispose of them for me, along with their used scalpel blades and all the things they use at the vet office. And also, I have a jar that I keep used and broken needles in, and I take those in at the same time. So this drawer is just a little cabinet that I got from, I think I got it from Wayfair. I might have got it on Amazon, but I think it was from Wayfair. And this is, you can hear my machine running and see it. I keep this real close to my machine and keep one pair of scissors here, and sometimes I'll put my little Fiskars curved scissors in this drawer, but not very often. So you can kind of see, I just don't have need, I guess, for 2 or 3 pair of the same kind of scissors and tools. And so I'll take you quick like over here, and hope you don't get car sick. Oh, I got my quilt all cut out. There it is. Ready to start sewing those together. So this is, when I fixed up my little, moved my cutting station and fixed up my new little cutting station over here. I'm using my little bag that I made, and I've got a pair of Gingher scissors in here. My Guggenheim scissors are here. And this is a 28 millimeter and a 60 millimeter. And this is a Fiskars knife, which I use in bag making all the time. I just love it. Make lots of bags, use it every time I make one. And so I keep those here. And then at my easy chair in the evenings, I often will be piecing on a quilt. Sometimes it's English paper piecing, sometimes it's just patchwork, handwork that I like to do. And I do keep a pair of Gingher scissors in my little portable handwork. I have a little plastic box that I kind of keep a few pins and a couple of clips and my scissors and a pencil and extra pieces of freezer paper and things like that in there, and I keep it right by my chair. I also kind of incorporate that in my knitting. Once in a while I need a pair of scissors in my knitting, and I'll get scissors from in my little portable patchwork box. So that is pretty much my cutting tool situation. I just don't do I don't have the finances to purchase lots, so I buy good things. I like the Guggenheim scissors. I'll buy good products, but only one of each one that I need. So anyway, we're talking about day, 7, 8, we're on day 9. So today we're talking about thread. And I have enough thread that it takes two toolboxes to house all my thread. And when you do an enormous amount of machine embroidery or bag making, you're going to have different kinds of thread that you probably wouldn't use in garment sewing or quilting. Embroidery thread is pretty much specifically for machine embroidery. So I have Aurifil thread that I use to sew with, And I do have some Coats and Clarks and Metler and Metrocine and some of the others, but I prefer Aurifil by far. And these are part of my embroidery threads, and I try to keep the colors together. And as you can see, it's not very neat looking, but it is protective of the thread. There's no sunlight on them 24/7 or whatever, all day. Fluorescent lights at night, no fluorescent lights. They're dust free. They're kept. There's kind of no moisture they don't soak up moisture or anything like that. And I am just, I'm kind of a stickler for making sure that my thread is very well cared for. And I do kind of color coordinate things, but as you can see, there's some empty spots, so I do have some out and in use. And I try to use up I try to keep track of the thread I've had the longest, and I try to use that up first. And these are more Gutermann and different threads that I do garment sewing with, and just still keeping them safe, and bobbin thread for my machine, and a little overflow here. And then I have metallics, and I have, this is an entire box of variegated thread in here, and some metallics here. And anytime there's a sale on high quality thread, I watch Thread Art and Sim Thread on Amazon, and I primarily use Thread Art thread. I use polyester thread, but I do have some rayon, and I like it just fine. So that's this toolbox full of thread and kind of how I keep them. So I'll move over to the second toolbox. Okay, here we are at the second toolbox, and here is the last of my thread, and this is all cotton polyester blend. This is quilting thread, sewing thread for garment sewing, and that kind of thing. And these are weights that my husband made for me, and I use those when I'm basting a quilt, so they're kind of handy. And these are my flower head pins. I might have mentioned those, but I keep them in a toothpick holder, and I live in Iowa. So I get a little Iowa toothpick holder there. Pretty cool. And I keep them there, and they're too long to fit anywhere else and too tall to fit in my other cabinet with all my other pins. So I kind of keep them there, and I enjoy them quite a bit. And this quilting thread is very heavy. It's really thick. You wouldn't use it in your sewing machine, I mean, unless you were, I don't know, maybe basting, because this is older thread. And I did hear Karen say that the life of a spool of thread is about 10 years. I'm sure these are older than 10 years. And so I'm just going to use them for basting and doll making. I make little rabbits and little craft critters, and I'll use those for attaching the arms and legs and things. So there is my threads. Day 10, pins and needles. So I'm gonna just show you, this drawer is right beside my sewing machine, you can tell. Flowers from a friend, a beautiful neighbor, stopped in for a visit and brought flowers and a bag of Tootsie Rolls. How sweet. Thank you so much, Rachel. And so I have quite a few different kinds and sizes of pins. And I've got clips. I like these the best for piecing miniatures. These are very fine and shorter, and I use them for silks and fine fabrics like batiste. Sometimes I use it for quilting cotton, but not very often. And these are definitely for quilting cotton and also garment sewing. These have a glass head which you can press with your iron, and that is always so nice. These also you can press with your iron. And these are a little more beefy pins, which I do use when I'm sandwiching a quilt, or if I'm doing some embroidery that needs a little extra stabilization, something like that. So you can kind of see I keep almost all my pins where I can see them and close to my sewing machine. It's kind of a quick look at the rest of the drawer. I got washi tape, and I keep this came out of my Barbie box. I keep the bobbins that I put bobbin thread on in that. And then I have a couple of bobbin cases, flashlights, little mag lights, so that I can see when I want a really deep clean around my hook and bobbin area. Scratch pads and pencils and pens and my fabric marker. Some measuring, sometimes I need to measure something. So I've got a couple of little rulers in here, and point turners, seam rippers, that kind of thing here. So let's go now, and I will show you the drawer that holds all my hand sewing needles. Well, not all of them, but most of them. And then I do have one other set of pins to show you that I don't keep with these. So we've talked about this little cabinet before that's right next to my sewing machine. Here's my machine. And this top drawer we looked at that had all my pins and things in. And the next drawer has feet and bobbin cases. And then the next drawer has all my sewing machine needles. And we talked about my hand sewing and paper piecing needles and all the others. So let's have a look at my sewing machine needles. Primarily, I have a few Schmetz, and you'll see when I open my case, but primarily I use Organ needles. I like them the best. I think they are the most long-lasting, less burring and shredding kind of needles. And these are little needle holders that I made. There's a file for these. I can't remember where I got the file, but if I can find it, I'll link it in the description box. But this is just an in the hoop embroidery project, and there are little plastic pockets across the bottoms that you can put needles in and keep them in there. And then in all these little puffy places, you can put used needles that you had to change out that weren't maybe used all the way up. So you'll have your sizes at the top there and type of needle along the left hand side, and you can just put that in there, and then you'll know that you can use that needle again, that it still has long life in it, and you can use it again. So I keep these right on top of my needle case. This is where I keep all my sewing machine needles. And let me see if I can get it opened up a little more for you. Everything goes in here, my thread nets, spool caps, everything. And you can see how this is how I buy my organ needles, is in a pack. I don't know how many are in there, but there's so many needles in each of these little envelopes, and they're very, very, very cost effective for someone who sews a lot. And I can't remember where I got this little case, but I think I got it at Walmart, and it seems like I might have gotten it in the craft or fishing, maybe the fishing department. And I have one just like this that I keep my feet in, most of my presser feet. So there is a look at my sewing machine needles. Okay, this drawer in another Husky toolbox has, I showed you before, my threads. These yellow-headed pins came from an inheritance. I haven't used them, but I'm kind of waiting for an opportunity to give them away to somebody that's maybe new to quilting or something like that, kind of help them out. And in this large storage box, I've got variegated and metallic thread, and these are little leather pieces of finger thimble that you can just stick onto your finger. And I do use those when I'm doing English paper piecing, but I find I use the little round ones a lot more. But in here are all my hand sewing needles, everything that I need to sew by hand I have here, except my English paper piecing needles. So you'll see that I do keep some things together. So let me close this and we'll... Okay, English paper piecing drawer. These are curved safety pins for basting quilts, large quilts if I need them. These are the broken needles that I showed you earlier, pins and needles and things that need to be recycled. And I take this, when it's full, I take it to my vet office and turn it in. These are saved embroidery thread snips. And these are the needles that I love the most to do paper piecing with. And I know that Karen said to take the little vial, they come in a little vial, and throw the box away. Take the vial out, throw the box away. I never throw the box away until I take the vial out. I don't know if that makes any sense, but the vials will be stored in these boxes where they are safe until I need them. And then as far as more pin type things, I have my Sew Tights are here, and some silk ribbon needles, and maybe some really sharp applique needles, and my glues. All my glues are here, and these are little safety pins which I use on occasion with bag making, and glue for my glue pen. Those are replacement glue sticks for my glue pen. So now I'm going to take you and show you my little English paper piecing setup that I usually take to my chair with me, and can do English paper piecing while I watch TV in the evenings. So I got the Jelly Roll Race quilt all done. The top, I'm going to put a border on it. I'm trying to decide what I've got here that might work for a backing or a border or binding. So I've had that. I usually lay things out where I can see them and walk by them quite a bit. And so this is folded so that I mean, it's a full throw size. And this is my little English paper piecing box, and you will be shocked. This little box is really very sturdy, really strong, and it came from Long John Silver's. I got a meal to go from Long John Silver's one day, and I washed this little box up. It does lock. It's got a little lock thing here so that you know, if you drop it, nothing will fall out. And I keep in little baggies, I keep pre-basted pieces and my templates that I've already got cut out, ready to iron on. Some needles. I might have a little vial. I might have a little vial in here that I was telling you about before, or maybe not. I don't know, I don't see one. Must took it out, it was probably empty. But so I have my glue stick, and I also have my glue pen, some clips in here, and some specialty needles, and my Tula Pink scissors, and a couple of thimbles. I keep these thimbles in here. I don't really know for sure why, but I do, and I rarely use these thimbles. I like these little things that you stick on your finger, and you can take them on and off and reuse them, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. But my favorite thimble is this one. And this one belonged to my grandmother, and I use it all the time. It is probably, let's see, 140 years old, I think. It's about 140 years old. And I use it all the time. You can see how worn it is, and it's got a patina around the edge there and on the top, and it's very precious to me, and I wear it a lot. I use it a lot when I do binding. These I use for paper piecing. It's a little different. There's very little pressure involved, but for something like basting or binding, hand sewing, hemming something, I use this one. So there is a look at my pins and needles and my just my glues, things to hold fabric. So there you have it, is day 10. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back soon with some more days of the Declutter Challenge for 2025. And I hope you're having a great day. And I'll see you next time.